Hey everybody, welcome back to another video, and tonight I'm going to be discussing a very long-running video game series that I'm quite fond of. It's got its origins back in the late 1990s. There's been seven mainline games in the series, a bunch of spin-off games. It's been on a bunch of different consoles. I've been a big fan of it ever since the beginning. It's kind of one of the granddaddies of the survival horror genre in video games, and a few years ago they had a remake of my personal opinion, the best game in the series. So I'm going to focus on, that and everything else in the series, but I am talking about Resident Evil. So this has been a video game franchise for a long time. It's spun off into movies, comic books, all kinds of things, and we're going to talk about that franchise today. If you guys have been enjoying my videos, please subscribe to my channel. Hit the little notification bell up top there so you'll be the first to, be notified when I do a new video. I try to post them fairly regularly, but, unfortunately life gets in the way sometimes. If you enjoy the video, give it a thumbs up, like the video, leave something down in the comments. Tell me something you like about the video, something you don't like about the video. Tell me about your experience with the Resident Evil series, something you enjoy about it, something you don't enjoy, and let's get right into it. So, basically, the setting in this universe for Resident Evil, there's this multinational conglomerate pharmaceutical company, at least that's their public image, called Umbrella, that's developing all these products and whatnot, but secretly they're developing bioweapons and they're using them and testing them on unsuspecting citizens. So in the first game, there's a kind of this fictional town out west in the United States called Raccoon City. They've got a little mansion out there that, serves as kind of like a laboratory. So within this mansion and underneath it is all this secret stuff going on where they're doing all their experiments, And it starts out that in the first game of the series, there's these random attacks of people that have been camping in the woods and they find them half-eaten, things like that. As time goes on, more and more happens, so they send in this team they call STARS as their I don't remember what it stands for, but I think it's like Special Tactics and Rescue or something, whatever it was. So they send in a STARS team, to investigate, and they disappear, so they have to send in the STARS Bravo team, which is the characters you choose to play as. You can either play as a character named Jill Valentine or Chris Redfield. So you go through the first game, great game. You go into this match and you're fighting zombies and all kinds of other biological, weapons, and you're trying to get to the bottom of the mystery. And you've got your teammates you're trying to rescue. One of the classic games in like I said, the birth of the survival horror genre. I mean, games like that had been around before, but this really was the first of a new kind of series. I mean, there had been horror games before. There had been survival games on computer, since the 80s and whatnot. But this really is considered the grandfather of that kind of genre. And there's been so many copies of it. Some are well done, some not so much. But then you come to the second game, much larger in scope, where you're out in Raccoon City and you're going through the police station and the subways and all the sewer plants, like all these other locales. Really creepy, awesome music, great gameplay. Really exciting, really scary. I just remember I loved the second game far more than the first game, and the first game was great. Don't get me wrong. The third game kind of takes place concurrently with the second game, just a different tale. It's Jill Valentine again. I'm sorry, let me back up. The second game is Leon Kennedy, a rookie police officer you play as, or Chris Redfield's sister, Claire, who's looking for him, And then, like I said, in the third game, you're playing strictly pretty much as Jill Valentine again, as she's trying to get out of the city during this whole thing. Resident Evil 4 comes along, set in Europe. That was kind of a really different... that is when it went from less of the survival horror, more toward the action. And it's very popular in the series. I really enjoyed it. It first came out on the Nintendo GameCube, and then, of course, went to other platforms. Great game, but it took the series in a more action-oriented, versus the survival horror, And then the fifth game came along, you're playing as Chris again, and another character, I can't remember her name offhand. I think it's in West Africa, you're trying to track down somebody, or the plots get a little convoluted, but it's basically Umbrella is doing all these evil things. You're trying to get to the bottom of that, bust them up, and then of course it moves to a different company or moves to a different locale, but basically it's still the same. You're fighting zombies and monsters and whatnot. The sixth game, I never actually played the sixth game. but it's told from three different tales. Like Leon has his one section, Chris has his one section, and then a character that's the son of one of the evil guys in the series has his section. Like I said, I never got to it. The seventh game in the series, really did not like it at all. I think it's set in Louisiana, and it's played from a first-person perspective versus the third person that all the other games had been played from. I just didn't really get into the story. I might have to go back and try it someday, but I just couldn't get into it. It was just really weird, and I just didn't like it. Like I said, there's tons of these spin-off games in the series. There's shooter games, on the Nintendo Wii, because it, uses a kind of a motion control, so that's kind of cool. There was two of those. There's remakes. There's been, portable games. There's another sub-series that I like that first started on the Nintendo 3DS Portable that was transferred, later to the Nintendo Wii U and then brought to other consoles, called Resident Evil Revelations. And it's kind of, set a few years after the first series there. Really good games. You're fighting these water demons, and you're on a ship, and it's all kinds of cool stuff. Like I said, it's just a great long-running series for somebody like me that's a big fan of horror and zombies, and for people that are anti-corporation or always suspicious of things that they're doing. If you like that kind of stuff, it's right up your alley. And then, like I said, over the years, they eventually remade the first Resident Evil. It started again on the Nintendo GameCube. There was a remake. Then they came out with Resident Evil Zero that kind of leads into that story. You play as one of the medic characters who was in the first game, just like a rookie on the team, Rebecca Chambers, and this, a convict that escapes with her, that he's really not a convict. He's being kind of set up. Again, it's a lot of, your typical espionage and all this other stuff going on. But the gameplay was always really good. You're, like I said, you're fighting zombies and you're fighting these other creatures, but it's just, again, I'm a huge horror fan. I'm a huge zombie fan. So it was my bread and butter. And then over the years, there was a lot of rumblings that they were going to be remaking Resident Evil 2, because I still, to this day, I think Resident Evil 4 was the most popular of the series, because that's when it went from survival horror, strictly into action. But Resident Evil 2 was my personal favorite, always had been, and still a lot of, fans of the series, that's still kind of like the high water point. And then they announced right before my birthday one year that this game was going to be coming out, and like I said, this one that I had showed you earlier. So I picked this up. Rebecca got it, or I got it for my birthday. I don't even remember. Played the heck out of it. It was, basically took the story of the original, refined it, brought it up to the standards of the new generation as far as gameplay. Incredible story, incredible graphics. I don't really make a big deal about graphics, but I mean, amazing, like so well done. I love the way it plays versus the old style had what they called tank controls, where it was very difficult to move your character. I grew up in that era, so for me it wasn't so bad, but for younger people who are fans of the series to go back into it to try to pick it up is very difficult. Like I said, I grew up in that era. I grew up from the Atari 2600 on, so it's always been gameplay versus graphics and stuff like that for me. But I appreciate what they did with this remake. They brought it into the modern day, made it so much better. I mean, I can't even count how many hours I played this game. And then of course they also remade the third game, which was much shorter. I personally liked it. It didn't get a lot of good reviews. I think people kind of compared it to this game that I've held up here, Resident Evil 2 Remake. Again, 3 is a different story than 2. It's shorter story. It's not as good as far as the original. The remake is still pretty good. I mean, you do revisit a lot of the same spots that you revisit in this Resident Evil 2 Remake. There's been rumor that they're going to be remaking the fourth one, which I'll definitely check out. Like I said, the only game in the series I really haven't liked is the highest number game, Resident Evil 7. Now, there is one coming out, I think it's either next year or the year after, called Resident Evil Village. I think it has something to do with, werewolves or vampires or something. I'm really not sure. They're not really grounded in reality, They're just dreamt up horror movies acted out as video games. Still great things, But if you haven't played any of these games, there's the movies, and of course, Mila Jovovich is a bona fide action star, but the movies very loosely follow the plot of the game. They take a lot of liberties. look, I like the Resident Evil movies. Don't get me wrong. I enjoyed them for what it was. They're cheesy action popcorn flicks. Leave your brain at the door, have a good time for an hour or two. So I appreciate them for what they are. I've seen them all. My wife and I, we binged them a couple months ago. We had been watching them all along, but we had missed like the last two. So we enjoyed them, but to me, the heart and soul of Resident Evil is always going to be the video games. Like I said, I've had nothing but admiration for the series since it came out. And there's been a couple of duds along the way. With anything that's a long-running series, whether it's a video game or a movie or a TV show, you're not going to have perfection the whole way. I mean, sometimes you're just going to have a stinker. Overall, though, I would say Resident Evil is a great game. This remake one is just amazing. Like I said, the story, the zombies, the gameplay, the look of it. They took everything that was great about the second one and made it even better. They improved the controls, whatnot. So I look forward to always playing them. They're good, mindless things. Take your mind off everything that we go through in this crazy life. So I can definitely recommend the series. But if you've never played a game in the series, maybe kind of look up the story a little bit. Maybe start with the Resident Evil remake of the original and then jump right into this, because this by far is the best game in the series. So if you guys are fans of Resident Evil, I'd love to hear how you feel about it. Some things you like about the series, some things you don't like about the series. If you've enjoyed this video, definitely give it a thumbs up. If you're enjoying my channel, please subscribe. I cover video games, movies, music, television shows, life experiences, time in the Army. I was actually kind of joking with my wife today that I'm sort of running out of these other subjects I want to talk about, and eventually it's just going to focus on pretty much just, my hobbies: video games, movies, music, and TV. I try to sprinkle in something for everybody, but there's only so much other topics I can cover before I get to my, what I'm best at, what I'm best at talking about, what I got, the most passion for. Of course, the thing I have most passion for in life is my writing, but you can't really translate that into a video. So anyway, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video, and, I will see you next time, and I'll come up with something interesting for everybody. Take care.